All right, hey, what's up, guys? So I promised you all that I would do a video on zone training. I know it was fucking last week, and I had a bunch of shit going on. I was up in the mountains. I was hiking. I was doing a lot of crazy stuff. I was in Colorado for the last week and some change. And then yesterday was crazy. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I've been implementing zone training into my running. I've been doing it already for about a month. I haven't put it in y'all's programming necessarily. I've just been doing it on the longer runs. I've been using my heart rate monitor just on my watch. Nothing too crazy. They have the ones that go underneath your chest or whatever. The monitor is supposed to be a little more accurate. This one's pretty good. It kind of gives you an idea of how to pace yourself and stuff like that. But let's talk about the zone training. So it's kind of a new concept for me. Back when I was doing a lot of running and programming and stuff like that back in the day, there was no such thing as zone training, or at least I never knew about it. But you're talking that's 20 years ago. So it's everything, fitness kind of evolves and everything like that. So as the heart rate monitors kind of became more popular and a whole lot easier to, everyone has them on their watches now, people are starting to learn more about zone training. So don't get too wrapped around it too hard. Zone training is there's just 5 zones. So it's 5 ways of being able to train keeping your heart rate at a certain amount. If you don't have a heart rate monitor, you can kind of calculate it. You can go online, just go on Google and put in running zone training, and then go in the images, and it'll show you the breakdown of each one. If you're going to get super technical with it, the first zone is basically super lightweight. It's kind of a warm up. It's not really doing a whole lot for you. It's just kind of getting you into working out and warming up your blood. Nothing wild. You can sit there and you can have a full conversation. You're not out of breath, nothing like that. Zone 2 is you're still not out of breath, and that's where you're going to see the more research you do, the more stuff that you start to look around and start watching YouTube videos and listen to somebody other than me. You're going to see a lot of people talk about zone 2. Zone 2 is for aerobic. So let's talk about the difference between anaerobic and aerobic. So aerobic is with air and anaerobic is without air. So it's kind of complicated, but so aerobic is how long you can go. Like, so say at a lower pace, you're building your aerobic. So a lower zone, you're building up your aerobic endurance. So you can literally run for 5 hours. You're just sitting there having a conversation, but the longer you run, the better it's helping out your VO2 max and stuff like that. Without getting too complicated into the science of things, it basically helps you run better. I don't know how really else to say it, but if you can train in zone 2 more, it'll help you in all the other zones. So it's helping your body learn how to keep going with a massive amount of air. And then whenever you get into the higher zones, so zone 3 is still aerobic. So you're still building that up. Your heart rate's a little bit higher. So what does this calculator right here say? It's zone 2 is supposed to be 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Most people's max heart rates are 180. It goes off of everybody's a little bit different. So it's going to be however you do it. But there's a calculator out there where you subtract like your age and all this other stuff. Around 180 or 185, that's pretty freaking high. Your heart rate's going wild. If you get into the 200s, you probably need to be in the freaking hospital because your heart rate's so high, your heart's about to explode. So about 180 is about 185. You don't ever want to get above that. You're really not going to want to get above it. You're going to get a lot of feedback from your body telling you to stop, but that's going to be your max heart rate. So then you start to take the calculation from that down. So then 60 to 70% of that, that's pretty low. For my zone 2, I try to keep it around 140, 150, and then zone 3, you just add another 10%, another 10%, another 10%, and the higher you go up in your blood pressure, then obviously it's going to be harder and harder and harder. So whenever you're doing these metcons or you're doing sprints, you're going to be in zone 4, possibly zone 5, because you're going to be redlining it. So your heart rate's going to be super high. So if you really trying to not confuse you guys, it's kind of hard to explain it whenever it's on a video. But when you're trying to build endurance for a run, you can't just go out and just fucking run super hard, right? So coming from my background and some of y'all that are still in this group, you just want to go out there and you just want to fucking destroy it, right? You just want to go, and you think the harder that you go, the better you're going to get, like with weightlifting or with these metcons or something like that. If you're training in those higher zones, 4 and 5, yeah, you're going to get really good at anaerobic stuff, but you're not going to get good at aerobic stuff. So running is generally, you should be going for a longer period of time. So you'll hear a lot of people talk, if you want to run faster, run slower. Now, that's not an excuse to cheese dick shit, but it's just, if you want to get better at running, and you want to get faster at running, and you want to be healthier with it, and you make it safer, you need to run a little slower. So those longer runs that I have programmed into the programming, you want them to sit around zone 2. You want them to be where you could literally have a conversation with somebody, and it's not a big deal. It's really freaking hard for somebody like me that's just used to just going hard and just wanting to push it, because I've my whole life I've been taught that. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to do these zone 2 stuff where I'm literally having to peel back and monitor my watch. I'm like, oh shit, I'm up in 160 beats per minute, which is high for a zone 2. So then I have to sit there and almost walk to get my heart rate down into the 150, lower 150s and 140s, which is really, really hard. But I'm starting to see a mass improvement in my aerobic ability. So I just went up to Colorado for 5 days or whatever it was. I was hiking at 9,000, 10,000, up to 12,000 feet. And I was with a guy that just did a freaking triathlon, and I had no issues with my breathing. And then I had 2 weightlifters basically that just never ever trained in zone 2, and they were huffing and puffing and just smoked because they're not used to training in that lower zone. The other guy that was there, he knew all about zone 2 and zone 3 and all this stuff, and then we had full conversations about it. But I saw a big improve on my running since I've been training in zone 2. To not try to extend this for a really long period of time, because I feel like some of y'all are going to get lost in this and I talk kind of fast. But whenever you see the zones in the programming, so let's talk about the specific programming that I just had done for this week. I know it was today's workout, but so I think it was zone 2 for the first 10 minutes, and then it broke into zone 3 or 4 for the second 10 minutes, and then zone 2 again. So start off nice and slow, and then whenever you get that 10 minutes in, then you're going to speed it up, and then you're going to be in that aerobic. But then you get into zone 3 and zone 4. I can't remember how I programmed it, I don't have it in front of me. But you're going to speed it up a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging. And then whenever you get back into the last 10 minutes, it's another zone 2. So whenever you're in zone 2, you want to concentrate on having long periods of workouts, because you can go in zone 2 for, realistically a really long time. Some of the charts, they'll say, an hour or whatever, or longer, hour and a half in zone 2, but it's building up that aerobic stamina over that long period of time. And then the sprints or the metabolic conditioning that we have is an anaerobic stimulant. So you're going to have less blood, you're going to have less oxygen in your blood, and it's just a different stimulant, a different twitch when your muscle groups. So really hope that didn't confuse people. There's a lot of videos out there. You can watch them. I know some of y'all, when I just dropped that programming, it was my bad. I just had a lot of stuff going on. I didn't really get time to talk to you guys about it. But go in and look up just zone training and running. You can do your own research on it. You can't just always depend on me. So some of y'all have got me on the side and asked me about it. But just look up the different stuff in there, and you'll see some negative feedback on zone 2. But it's most of the stuff that you see is just people that they don't want to be a slave to a number or whatever. But when it comes to working out and building up, you have to be very scientific with a lot of stuff. So they want to bitch and whine about, oh, well, zone 2 is trash because all you're doing is staring at your watch the whole time, and you're not, it's really hard to keep your heart rate, and instead you should just run how you feel. Yeah, that's great until you have a shitty fucking day, and then you just don't want to run, and all of a sudden, you start playing mind tricks on yourself. You're like, oh, well, this is, I just don't want to do this today, so I'm gonna sit in zone 2, and this feels too hard, so I'm just gonna walk or whatever. There's a bunch of different stuff. That's kind of the little bitch way out of working out, but just try to concentrate on what your beats per minute are, if you can do that. If not, then you can kind of feel your body, and it'll help you pace things. So if you can start to work on that zone. We're going to do it over the next month before this ACFT anyway. So if you can start doing that, you can get used to actually concentrating on your beats per minute, on your heart rate. You're going to start to see, as you start to do it, you're going to be able to calculate how you're pacing yourself. Instead of just guessing of how you feel that day, you're going to actually be able to look down and go, all right, I'm sitting at 160 5 beats per minute, that means my heart rate's nice and high. That means I'm pushing myself, but I'm not redlining it. So that means I can sustain at this level, and then I can keep this pace. So how I feel right now, looking down exactly how my watch, and I can monitor it, you're going to keep that steady pace, and then it's a little more, you know, math when it's involved into it. Or you can push it up into the 170s, but then if you look down, you're like, holy shit, I'm smoked. And you look down and you're at fucking 185, and you're like, oh, I need to peel it back because you're about to burn out and you're about to crap out, and you could hurt yourself. So this is kind of going longer than I wanted to, but I hope that didn't confuse anybody. Please reach out if that did confuse you, or if you just don't know what the fuck I'm talking about at all. Reach out to me, and maybe I can get on a phone call with some of y'all. Shit, we're down to like 8 people, so it's not like there's the 50 that we started off with. Most of the people have fallen off of this anyway, but the ones that have stuck around, I really want y'all to get into the zone training. And even the ones, if y'all end up watching this, I'm going to throw it in the group chat. If y'all are just, you know, curious or whatever on the zone thing, and I just confused the living shit out of you with this, get with me on the side, and then I'll be happy to explain it a little bit more, maybe change up how I'm saying it to critique it to specifically maybe how you can understand it. But I openly want y'all to do your own research on this stuff. Don't just believe what I'm saying. Get in there. You're going to see a lot of stuff on YouTube on this zone stuff. Just go into Google, and then there's going to be all these running forums with everything. But everything that I've looked into with triathlon training, swim training, cycling, and running, and everything like that, the zone training is a big deal because it's allowing these high-level athletes or anybody to really be able to control how they're training their bodies without just guessing like we used to do back in the day before we all had these fancy little watches and stuff like that. So it's making it a little bit more structured for the programming. And you're going to see the next 3 weeks or however long, I know a lot of y'all are running your ACFT a month after I am. I'm going to keep programming this zone stuff in there. So it would behoove y'all to make sure you kind of understand what the hell I'm talking about, because I'm going to start putting in there just like how we did now. I'm going to say a 45-minute run, because a lot of this stuff's going to change the times. I wanted to try it first before I just kind of threw you guys into it, because I haven't really done it yet. I'm going to say a 45-minute run at zone 2, or a 30-minute run at zone 3 or whatever. So you need to kind of understand what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm going even fucking longer now. I think I'm at 12 minutes. But please reach out to me if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and then I can kind of try to rearrange the way how I just said it. So, all right, hope you guys have a good week and everything goes well for you guys for the programming. For the ones that aren't in the programming, I hope y'all are still keeping up with stuff. Doubt y'all made it this far into this video because y'all probably sick of listening to me or whatever. But if you guys want back in, let me know. I know a lot of y'all are going to have your ACFTs pretty soon. But yeah, good luck to everybody that's out there. All right, bye.